Hi there, collective, and welcome back to the Tauran Empress. If you're here today, there's a high likelihood that this message is for you, but as always, please use your discernment, only take what resonates for you. Now, first things first, I have to get this out of the way, is that I do have a head cold. I'm a bit unwell today, so my apologies if I sound a little bit groggy. And also, I was almost not going to do this reading. I feel like I say that every time, but like this one, I was going to wait for, I was just going to hold off until I felt a little bit better and had a little bit more energy to put some makeup on. As you can see, I'm not wearing a stitch of makeup, but the channel basically that I was getting was telling me that it's really important that I do this now and I don't need the makeup, and that it was relevant to today's message because I am showing you my most authentic self, basically. Like, my hair's not done, no makeup, I'm not actually wearing any jewelry except my watch and my rings, my wedding rings, and my earrings. So you're getting the most unfiltered, unglamorous version of me. And that is relevant because there are some masks that are being dropped at this time. And that resonates on two different levels. I feel like there's a coming out of the closet. And this isn't just in relation to sexuality, although that will be relevant to some people. This is also in relation to, this could be somebody who's, just wait for that truck to pass. Intervention, yo. Yeah, there are people who could be discovering that they are neurodivergent and that they've been high masking. Or you could be coming out of the spiritual closet and declaring yourself as being somebody who has beliefs that aren't necessarily esteemed in your culture or for where you're from. But this is a clearing that is happening in your throat, and that's why I feel like I've been called to deliver this message while I'm unwell. I know that I have been very strongly feeling like ascension symptoms right now, and please use your discernment on this. Go see a doctor, monitor all your symptoms and do all the necessary stuff. But two things can be true at once, right? You can have a cold and also be experiencing ascension symptoms. You know, it does come through in the physical body, and particularly a throat clearing, and I'm also getting a sacral chakra clearing. So take that how it resonates, but this is your expression, your authentic expression. And I'm being called to draw attention to the fact that the throat is the chimney to the heart. So there's been some things on your heart that have felt blocked, that aren't coming through, or that haven't been coming through, sorry, and that are coming through now. You may find that you're stumbling on your words less, or you will be stumbling on your words less, that you have more clarity of expression, and maybe you're able to channel more clearly that authentic version of yourself. So take that how it resonates. The second layer in which this message of coming out of the closet and unmasking is coming through is with all these retrogrades, the feeling that I'm getting, or intervention, is that there are people in your life when you're reviewing past situations, which you may have found yourself doing a lot with this Mercury retrograde that's just happened. There could be feelings of recognizing where other people have wronged you. Maybe you've made excuses for them before, or you thought to yourself, actually, you know what, like, I'm not going to get into all the, you know, the nasty feelings of regret and sadness and anger and all of that. And the guidance here is, it's not about them. Like, you're seeing their mask fall off, basically, in this situation. And yeah, I'm just getting that you may feel these feelings coming up again, to be revisited, not so that you can wallow in self-pity and anger. It's really important that you acknowledge your righteous anger so that you can protect yourself for the future, because it's going to be relevant. You are going to have to see people for who they are. You're going to have to recognize their shadows, and it's not about being judgmental. It's not about saying, how dare they? It's about saying, I see you. No, thank you. I had this happen to me last time and I'm not up for it again. Because Spirit wants you to recognize where you've moved on now. You've outgrown these people and you've outgrown these cycles. That's finished now and you can move on. But you may see people's masks falling publicly as well. You may see them having to come out of the closet for things like own up to what they did and certain responsibilities, especially with Saturn in retrograde. That one's going to bring up some big things. And I think we'll see this on the collective stage as well, like the public stage in terms of politicians and things like that, I suspect. But this isn't about that right now. This is about you and your journey. So with that in mind, if that all resonates for you and you feel that this message might be for you, let's pull some cards. And I do want to give a little shout out to the creator of this new deck that I received in the mail yesterday, actually. So this is the Dreamy Moons Tarot, and the creator, Annie Tarasova, has just done a brilliant job. And I just want to be clear, like, I bought this with my money. I felt like, I never get this, but I just felt this calling not that long ago to buy a new deck online. I was going to look on Etsy, and then I was like, oh, actually, I'll just go to the shop app, and this was the first one that came up, and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly the one that I've been looking at a lot, that I really love the look of. And I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to splurge, and it actually turned out to be so beautiful, and I have no regrets. I love it. I've gone through the whole deck, and it's just really, really beautiful. So I don't know, I just wanted to shout out a fellow artist, because I just think that it's, especially an Australian one. I'm pretty sure this is an Australian brand, because you've got to give credit where credit's due. So anyway, that being said, let's pull some cards. So in this next season, the feeling is, don't be hard on yourself, because two things can be true at once, is what I'm getting. And what that means is you can be a good person and still make mistakes. So just because maybe you didn't say the right thing in the moment, or because you didn't act in a way that you're particularly proud of, doesn't mean your feelings weren't valid. And Spirit just wants you to recognize that. And it wants you to understand your feelings better, and to ask yourself, how would you behave next time? Because there are going to be future instances where you will be tested. So retrograde season is very interesting. And I think right now we've also got Pluto in retrograde. So we've just finished our Mercury retrograde. We've got Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto at the moment. So all those big outer planets. So yeah, very, very interesting time. Lots of shadow work, but don't be too hard on yourself. Like, you can observe without judging your past behavior. Like, step outside of yourself and observe from that angle, because there's no point in being hard on yourself. You knew what was in your heart, and you knew that you were doing the best that you could with the tools that you had at the time. So, oh gosh, wow, that was big. Okay, I'm not going to take all of those. But the Emperor, we'll take that one. So yeah, I think like what that's saying is, like, there's sort of like, this feeling of, responsibility. The Emperor is a leader. He is an authority. And I think this is like asking you to be an authority on your own emotions. become the authority in your own inner world. I know that the Emperor usually refers to the outer world, but I'm getting the feeling like this is inner world. Okay, so we have the 7 of crystals, which in this deck is like swords. Okay, I'm just going to go with this one for the moment. So firstly, 7. 7 has been coming up a lot in my other readings. 7, as we know, is like a very, very spiritual number. And with the swords, this is like, I can't make this up. This is deception energy. You might have felt deceived by other people. You might have felt like people pulling the wool over your eyes, or this can also be you building your discernment now, learning how to be a bit more cunning in future situations. And that's, like I said, that comes back to the energy of thank you, but no thank you. I appreciate what you have offered me, but I've been down this road before. So you're building that sort of like that cunning of knowing how to move forward. But I am also getting like this is like you've come from a place where people have abused your trust. You've given them an inch and they've run a mile. Spirit, can get some more information on this, please? Yeah, we have the Tower. So there's just been oh, actually, I need to call your attention to the imagery on this card, because it's just telling me, I'm getting a lot from this card. So apologies for the glare, but can you see how there's a crown that's been falling off? So remember how I was talking about the unmasking, this unmasking energy? That's what I'm getting from this Tower. And then we've got these lightning bolts happening here. And, you know, the moon will be moving through Gemini in this coming week. And we have Uranus there as well. And I'm getting this feeling of just having these shock waves of insights just like hitting you like thunderbolts. And it's going to feel like a Tower moment, whatever it is. It could be a sudden unmasking. Yeah, actually, I'm getting this not so much for you, but for somebody else. Maybe it's, yeah, okay. So this deceptive energy, I'm feeling like the Tower moment is going to reveal this person. We have the Star in reverse. There's been a lack of faith here. I think you might have been wondering, like, will this person ever come to justice? Like, will they ever be revealed for who they really are? I'm really sorry if this was something very traumatic for you. I'm so sorry about this energy. But just on a general note, the Star here feels like have faith. Like, don't lose your faith in who you are to be able to deal with this situation. These people will reveal themselves with their behavior, is what I'm getting. This Tower moment is their own undoing. Their crown is going to fall. But it is going to be sudden. They're not going to expect it. Oh, hello. Okay. Yeah. We have the Ace of Cups. Your cup is going to overflow again. This might have felt very, very emotional. Of course it would. That makes a lot of sense. But your cup is going to be filled again. Whatever this person took from you, your cup is going to be filled again. Yeah, 8 of Wands. Okay, this is very quick energy, definitely. I'm feeling with this imagery in particular, because this is so different from the Rider-Waite Tarot deck that I normally use. Firstly, eagles could be significant to somebody, because this looks to me like a bald eagle. That might be significant to you. And also this redhead woman here, I'm getting feminine, divine feminine energy. Now, you don't have to be a woman to have divine feminine energy. All humans have feminine energy. And divine feminine energy is your intuition that you can clock into. And yeah, you remember how I was saying like the thunderbolts, like the sudden insight? I feel like the Eight of Wands talks of speed, and this is like getting hit with an arrow, like level of insight. Like it's just sudden, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you see like the Cupid with the arrow of love, and the person gets hit and suddenly it's like they fall in love, like love at first sight. This is like insight on first instinct kind of vibe. And with the bald eagle here as well, because eagles represent the higher perspective. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, like if this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure that eagles or hawks, they represent the higher perspective and being able to see things from the whole situation. And I feel like you're going to be able to see how this plays out from a whole different perspective. Okay, wonderful. Like, I really feel for you guys. Oh, this also feels very fiery. Like, connect with your creativity right now. Yeah, the moon. What did I say about divine feminine? Something is being shielded from you right now. It was kept in the dark, but it is going to come to light. And you're just, this woman walking down the pathway, I feel like this is just, yeah, this is that insight that I was talking about. Like, you're going to know, and you're going to know that you know, but you're not going to be able to explain it to other people. It won't make sense, but you're going to know before this happens, is what I'm hearing. You're going to know. Oh, that's kind of crazy. You're going to get a download or an insight, and that's your justice. That Spirit's telling me that's your justice, is that you're going to know before this happens, before this tower moment happens and this crown falls off. You're going to know. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Crystals reversed. So again, like crystals in this, I'm sorry if I got that wrong earlier. Crystals in this is swords. I hope I said that. Anyway, apologies for if I got that wrong earlier or if I failed to mention that. So the Page of Crystals reversed, I feel like this was an underdeveloped sense of discernment when it came to this person. This comes back to you really developing your discernment. But that's okay, because it's kind of like you had to learn the lesson. Like, that was part of your soul contract, was to learn this lesson. Oh, wow. Okay. We'll take that. Okay, so we have the Chariot here in reverse. You could be feeling pulled into two different directions, and maybe this is this lack of discernment. So really, really tap into that divine feminine energy that I mentioned before. Maybe this is you kind of figuring out what you're going to do with this information. You may feel like you're being held back a little bit, like you can't share this information. Because with the Chariot is the card, like the sign that it's like linked to in the astrology is Cancer. And I remember when I heard that, I remember thinking that's so weird. Like, I would have thought the Chariot would be linked to like Leo, like a fire sign of some kind, like Aries, you know, like taking inspired action. But this is like also, this is a sense of like, what's the word? Victory. Maybe this insight that you're receiving, or maybe this crown falling off moment isn't going to feel as victorious as you thought. You could have mixed feelings about it. You could be feeling pulled in two different directions. Okay. I always hear that song from the Addams Family when I see the Chariot card. ever since I found out that like these horses here, usually they're sphinxes in the traditional one, but these two horses here, they talk about being pulled in two different directions. So I always hear the song Pulled from the Addams Family. I'm being pulled in a new direction. So that might be relevant for somebody, I don't know. If you resonate with me, there's a high chance that you might love musical theatre. Yeah, okay, let's see. The Hierophant. Okay. Yeah, there's just a lot of spiritual energy around whatever insight is coming in here. But I am getting a sense of you need to keep your karma clean. Don't get your hands dirty with this one. It's just not worth it. And I'm really sorry if that's really hard for you, because like I know what it's like when people basically lie about you or deceive you or throw you under the bus or stab you in the back, and you've given them nothing but kindness, and then you want to defend yourself. You really, really want to protect yourself. But I feel like the guidance here is protect yourself spiritually, cleanse your energy, and keep your karma clean, because they're just not worth it. And also, Spirit themselves is going to deal with this one. And I know that that's going to be difficult, because we did have the Chariot. Oh, interesting. The Chariot, I don't even remember doing this, but the Chariot I just put back upright. I don't know. I'm going to take that as relevant, actually. Yeah, you are moving forward then, and you are going to know the right action, but keep your karma clean. You don't need to deal with this. This is all Spirit is going to deal with this. They're going to reveal themselves. These people, you know, like it's part of their soul journey to experience being revealed, because it's going to teach them something. It's going to be part of their spiritual growth. So don't get involved. Somewhere along the line, you guys agreed to incarnate together and for this to happen, and you were a part of their soul story, you know, like how they were going to learn or grow from this lesson in this lifetime. So just leave this one up to Spirit, but you're going to see it happen, you know. Yeah. Okay, we have the Eight of Crystals here. So this might... This is not an easy energy. I'm not even going to lie. But the blindfold, it's like the blindfold is coming off. You can step out of this feeling that you're stuck. And you are. I'm getting that you are. You are going to move forward. Okay. I just want to pull a few more cards, because I just feel like this isn't complete. Like, I don't feel like it's right to end it there. Ooh, okay. Yeah, Five of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So yeah, there's a lot of conflict here. That is reversed, so I feel like it's inner conflict. It's conflict within you of like, can I move on from this situation? The Chariot's up right now. You can move forward now. Once you get this insight, you can walk away. You can, yeah, but don't act out of turn. You don't have to be the one to reveal them. We have the Emperor again, and the Emperor in reverse. Yeah, this is just... maybe feeling disempowered by this silence. King of Stars in reverse. Stars in this is Pentacles. Yeah, I'm really feeling this disempowerment. You've lost something. You've lost... well, I'm hearing credibility. This person might have come for your credibility. Okay, can we get some more insight on that, please? Whoa, that's so crazy about the Chariot though, turning upright. Like, I did not do that. Okay, we have the Five of Wands again, but this time it's upright. Yeah, it's just like this energy's turning back around. So don't be surprised if you feel like that energy of the Emperor being reversed, that feeling of disempowerment is going to turn around for you. The Five of Wands could be the fact that there may be a time to stand your ground and fight for yourself. Ooh. I'm just going to pull 2 more cards and then we'll get some oracle. Or it could be that this person's going to try and fight you, somehow drag you into this mess. 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups. Okay. Yeah, there's a grief here over the relationships that you lost. This could be the part of you that's unmasking yourself. And you will lose people, but it's going to be aligned to lose these people because not everyone can come with you. Not everyone's meant to come with you. Yeah, really building that discernment. There we go. There's the finale, the Temperance card. Yeah, it's integrating this lesson. It's learning how to be 2 things at once. It's healing and accepting that these people weren't meant to be in your life. It's learning that, you know, maybe you were both a little bit at fault. Sometimes when there's, you know, I've had this happen in my own life where I felt so wronged and I would go back and forth over it for the longest time, being like, how dare they? They wronged me. Chariot in reverse. Sorry about that. My daughter just walked in the house. So I've had this energy before, like this Chariot in reverse energy of just feeling like, how dare they? And then 2 minutes later being like, well, maybe it was this thing I did. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe this was wrong. And then just being so hard on myself and just beating myself up. And the only way to sort of accept that it's both, you know what I mean? And it's also neither. It's not as bad as you think, but it's also not as clean cut as you think. It's integrating the lesson of maybe there were things that I wouldn't do again. For example, if you saw the signs, if you saw the red flags with this person and they showed you who they were before all of this went down and you ignored them, now you have information. Yeah, you did ignore the red flags. Okay. Next time, you'll be more aware. You'll be more conscious. And that doesn't mean don't trust people. It just means seeing people for who they are and being aware that we all carry baggage and we're all only at a certain level. We can only meet ourselves and people can only meet us at the level that they are at. You know what I mean? And we can only meet people at the level that we're at. So if you use this to heal and to grow and to accept that you're just as capable of those horrible things that that person did to you, you are just as capable of those. You choose not to do those things. And that's the difference. Now you have a choice. Now you can consciously make the decision to not be that way. And, you know, okay, I am just going to share a little bit of one situation. It was a work situation and a person did show me who they were. And the way that they did this was just having like a general gossipy energy. And I'm recovering from people pleasing. And this was a huge moment for me to see how by people pleasing, it hurts you the most because you start becoming incongruent with your own values to please these people. Like when these people are, I don't want to say they're bad. I just want to say less conscious. I don't even want to say less evolved because even though like in a way that's kind of logically what I mean, it kind of makes it still seem bad and I don't want it to seem like that. But people who are like less aware than perhaps you have been. And in this situation with this coworker, I saw their gossipy behavior and I didn't feel right with it. And I did call them out a couple of times, but then I look back and I think, what about all the other times where I didn't say anything? And I kind of either went along with it or added to it, and I don't feel good about that, because that was me going back on my own, values and principles, is what I'm trying to say. And then, of course, what happened, that same person who was saying all this stuff that I knew, I could sense was light. Like, I just knew they were full of shit. And so they did that to me, because instead of saying, whoa, I can see that you have an energy going on that I don't want to partake in, and then just giving them some space and then being like, okay, you do you, but you do you over there. Like, I don't want to get involved with that, and removing myself. Instead, it just felt so good to be like engaged with and wanted, in a sense of like that sort of, that camaraderie. It was a very lonely office. It was a horrible job. At the time, I thought it was so good, and I look back and I'm like, that was horrible. So having somebody that I could talk to was like really, excuse me, I'm going to cough now. Just having somebody that I could talk to in the office was really attractive to me. Like, I was like, yes, I need a work friend. And so, I confided in them and I let them in, even though I could see that they were not very nice about other people, and that I could tell they were lying. Even as they were talking to me, I was like, you're kind of lying. Like, I know that's not true. And I didn't say anything in the moment, and I still continue to trust this person. And, I have to reconcile with myself that I did let that happen. And there were moments when I engaged with it too. And so that shows me that I am just as capable of that awful gossipy behavior that that other person had. And she is not lesser than me, and I'm not better than her, because my values are different. It's just that I think I've grown enough with my own existence and my own journey to realize that that isn't a behavior that I really want to accept within myself anymore. And when they stabbed me in the back, because they did, they came after me and they lied about some pretty awful stuff, like just like not white lies, like really horrible stuff while I was their friend. And I have to accept that the part of that is on me, and I think that's what the temperance card is asking of us, really, is saying like, yes, we can grow and we can heal, but part of that growth and healing is seeing that there is nothing in another person that isn't a reflection of ourselves. Of course, there are extreme circumstances, and I'm not talking about those. Please do not take this that way if somebody has done something really awful to you. I'm talking about like more like the more mundane gossipy stuff. I'm not talking about assault. Okay, like no way. But please use your discernment. You know what I mean? But most of the time, for the just general stuff, it is a mirror reflection of parts of ourselves that we've rejected. Like, I didn't want to accept that I was capable of being that sort of malicious gossip, and yet here I was just accepting somebody else, and then sometimes also being that. And it took that person revealing themselves to me for me to see myself clearly. And it was only when I could see myself clearly that I was then able to say, oh, okay, I'm not a victim in this. I also agreed to this. I also signed on to allow them to treat me this way when I chose people pleasing and accepting this behavior over walking away and choosing no. So that's what that is. And yeah, there is like sort of a grief that comes with that. When you learn to say no to those situations, you do lose people. Like I had to walk away from that job after that because I was like, I can't work with this person anymore. And that was a big thing because I had been in that job for 7 years, and it's just sad that like I had to be the one to walk away. I'm better off for it, don't get me wrong, but it was hard. It was a whole huge thing for my family for me to have to change jobs. It was a huge thing for me mentally to have to get used to a whole different industry. I'm much better off for it, but like it was a big change. And none of this is ever to say, by the way, that just because somebody mirrors to you the parts of you that you don't want to see, that you ever deserve anything bad being done to you. You never do. But it is saying that it's just bringing you back to the fact that we are all interconnected, and that at the end of the day, you are your choices. You know what I mean? Not just the human part of you that's capable of all the things, good and bad, not those polarities, but the choices that you make. And sometimes people have to remind us of those things, not so that we can beat ourselves up, but so that we can be more aware and we can make our choices more consciously. So this could have felt like a conscious awakening. But yeah, with the grief and the losing people, like obviously there were some colleagues that I liked that I lost. Not so much in that situation because like I wasn't super close with anyone in that job, but there have been situations in the past where I have said, no, I don't sign up for this anymore. I don't want to be a part of this. And people haven't liked that. And I've had to walk away from friendships, or people have walked away from me. And that was difficult. That was really hard. But it's all for the greater good, because the thing that I want to point out here is, and you'll hear this a lot when we talk about the Five of Cups, these cups, yes, they've fallen over, cups representing relationships. But look at these two over here that she's turned her back to at the moment and can't see. But like, those are the authentic relationships that still exist in your life, and they're so much better. This water, poisoned. It's poison. This water is the medicine. It's the medicine. So the guidance here is, it is going to be very hard. You may want to fight, and do please protect yourself. Like, don't feel that you just have to accept people saying whatever they want. This might mean a moment of temporary disempowerment, but I really strongly feel like this is going to turn around, especially with the Temperance energy here. Like, there is something really amazing coming in, and just really believe that. So I'm going to go ahead and get some Star Codes Astro Oracle for you guys, just to see if there's any further guidance here for how to move forward in this. I really do feel like this Emperor card and this King of Stars is here because it's like the energy is changing. It's like, yes, you were disempowered. You were sort of forced off your throne, but when you rise back to your throne again, you're not going to be the same leader that you were before. This was a conscious dethroning, or a subconscious, actually. I don't know. Either way, take which one resonates. You were being dethroned because it didn't work. You weren't being authentic. That leadership wasn't authentic to who you really are. And now that you've had this awakening, you are going to rise again, and you are going to take to your throne, and you are going to be the Emperor again. But the Emperor that you're going to be now is one who can stand their ground in their full realized truth, their virtue, their values, their principles. What they stand for is actually going to have so much more meaning now. And that's you. You're the Emperor. And this King of Stars, which is the King of Pentacles, I feel like this is going to be very rewarding. Like, you are going to reap the fruits of your labor that you deserve, not the fruits of your labor that you were chasing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyway, on the bottom of the deck, yeah, okay, we have trine, sextile, symbiosis. Yeah. So this is all about, like, in the way I'm reading this is, firstly, a trine or a sextile, for those of you who don't know astrology, this is an aspect that two planets make to each other that is compatible energy. And it's a very favorable aspect. And with the symbiosis here, I feel like this is an energy that feeds into each other. And when you stand up in your full authentic truth, you bring the most fully authentic people and places and things towards you. You bring those authentic experiences towards you. And they're the things that you may not have realized you wanted, but they are the things that are going to be the most rewarding for you. Yeah. Sometimes we're not conscious of what our real desires are. We think we know what we want, but we don't really. And then when we start standing up and declaring, hey, I'm actually this person. I actually am a goofball. I actually love, I don't know, what's something goofy? Musical theatre, I don't know. maybe you're in a group, a social group that is all about the sports, and they think they're so cool, and they drink lots of, I don't know, beer, let's just say. And they're not the kind of people you'd ever expect to be interested in musical theatre, but you just happen to have this other interest that you love. And you come out of the closet and you're like, guys, I'm such a musical theatre kid. Take that as it resonates. It doesn't have to be that situation. And then your friends have to get to know that there's this other side of you that they didn't really know that was there, because you're just like this hardcore jock. And it's so odd to them. But if they're really meant for you, they'll love it. They'll support you in it, and they'll think that that's great. And they might even go to the theatre with you and be like, actually, that is kind of cool. You know what I mean? If they're meant for you. And then if they're not, they're going to fall away, and you're going to find a crowd that has your shared love of both interests. And that's when you're going to really find your people. So that's an example of that symbiosis. It's those two things that are aligned at the right time. They're at the exact same degree in their respective signs to meet up and have a conversation. Okay, so we have Mars in motion. Okay, so there's a call to action here, and the number 22 could be relevant. 10:22 p.m. I saw 22:22 on the clock last night. So if you've seen 22:22, this is relevant. This is in relation to your relationships. And remember how I was talking about mirrors before, people showing you who you are. The more authentic you become, the more you're going to like the people in your life that you see. And the people who don't align with your values are going to fall out of your life. They just can't stay. They just won't. They won't be able to handle it. They won't be able to handle your authenticity. They won't be able to handle your true expression. They just won't feel aligned, and so they'll drop off. But in their place, they'll make space for people who do align with you, who do share your values, your interests, your passions, your level of expression. And maybe this does require, you know what's funny, I've got this over the 5 of Wands here. Maybe this does require a little bit of a fight back, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to go head to head with somebody in order to stand your ground. I don't think. I think that I'm not getting that vibe anyway. I'm really getting the feeling of, this is with this sword here, I'm just getting the feeling of like you being able to cut people off. Like just saying, no, I don't want to go out tonight. Thanks for the offer, but no, I'm not interested. Just like that level of cool, calm, cut off game. And like the 5 of Wands, like Wands is fire, and that's sort of like a purification. So, and 5 is change, you know? So there's going to be a change in your social dynamics. Pallas Athena, think. Yeah. Take some time to think about what you really, really want. And, conjunction. There's an alliance. Oh, I love that for you. Okay. All right. There's something coming in. Either that. No. You know what I'm getting? Alliance. You're creating an alliance with me, myself, and I. Because the Pallas Athena is the number 30. And I just sort of, the number 3 is like that trinity that exists within yourself, that me, myself, and I. You know, that's the alliance that you're creating. You're getting so connected to the person that you are on the inside and so congruent with your values that, like I said, other people are just going to have to go if they don't align with those things. And I love that for you because you deserve it, and you've had so many people like push you around, and it's time for you to rise. It's time for you to overcome all of that. Let's have a look at Moonology manifestation. I love these cards. I just feel like they're very, very clear in their messaging. Like you don't have to check the book. Yeah. Also, I'm a moon girly. Okay. First quarter moon in Leo. Oh, that's interesting. It says here, be humble. And this is why I don't think this is all about necessarily like rushing into a conflict with another person. Because firstly, you don't need that drama. You've been through enough. You don't need that drama. But it is about having a strong cutoff game. And in order to have a strong cutoff game, you kind of have to be a little bit humble and don't let the ego take over, because then the ego will tell you that you need to quieten yourself down, you need to play by the rules, or that you need to rush in, guns are blazing, righteous, you know, like, I'm so right. This is about saying, you know what, they're just not aligned. You know, that's that being humble energy. And the moon in Leo, like this is about, yeah, emotional authenticity. Leo is the sign of self-expression and authenticity. And we have an eclipse in Leo coming up next month. And so this is hugely relevant to this reading. You really are learning how to stand in your own sovereignty and say, this is who I am right now. I've stopped living out that old story. I've stopped playing the character. I've stopped performing, and I'm standing in my true expression now. And you can take it or you can leave it. But I will cut you off if I don't feel like it's aligned. Okay. First quarter moon in Cancer. Push through any insecurity. Yeah, there could be a tendency to fall back into old patterns at some point, like when you are faced with sort of like a conflict of values, or I really am getting values very, very strongly in this whole reading. Like values has been a big part of how this person might have hurt you. But it's saying push through any insecurity. Okay, I'm getting called to take this one as well. We have 2 first quarter moons and a last quarter moon. So the 2 first quarter moons are about an energy you're bringing in. So you're learning how to deal with your insecurities now, and you're recognizing that that's your own baggage to transmute and to work through. And the other people's insecurities is their baggage to work through. And so maybe you're not taking on as much as you used to. Maybe you're not eating as much shit as you used to. Like, no, that's your shit. Go away. That's not mine. I didn't agree to that. I didn't sign up for this. And then we have reflect on your priorities. And this is the last quarter moon in Aquarius. And oh my God, we literally just had the full moon in Aquarius on yesterday. I'm filming this on Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday the 29th, the full moon. And this is a goodbye. Reflect on your priorities. Yeah, so this is like the last quarter moon is like the it's the waning quarter. Like this is when we get into releasing the light before we get to the new moon, and that eclipse will be the new moon in Leo. So there is like reflect on your priorities. So this is a releasing energy of releasing things, people, places, and things that don't reflect your priorities. Allowing yourself to find those things that make you feel whole. Oh, okay. And I'm being called to take this one as well. Bottom of the deck, new moon in Taurus. Know your worth. Yeah, you're worth it. Whatever you're trying to bring in at the moment, you're worth it. And the fact that it's a new moon makes me think, you don't even know how good it's going to get. I love that for you. I'm really excited about this because I feel like you almost don't have to manifest this one. Because you won't even know what you're manifesting. This is just saying, just be in your own energy and love on yourself, because great things are already coming through, and it's the manifestation for the things that you want, that you don't even know you want, is happening when you step into that authentic power and you say, yeah, I do know my worth. I do know what I'm prioritizing in life. Like, you've got your goals and you're moving towards them with aligned power, with alignment. And, you know, like, if insecurities rise up, you deal with them, you do the shadow work, you accept, you integrate, you stay in your humility, and you say thank you, no thank you to that doesn't align. Your manifestations will come in and you won't even know how good it's going to get. Eternal love. Happiness, harmony, fulfillment. And on the bottom of the deck, we have apprehension, moving out into the world through doubt and fear. Yeah. You know what I'm feeling like as well? So this is really relevant because I had this download the other day where, and it wasn't like a message that was quantifiable through words. It was just an imagery that came in, and it was after like a volcano erupts, or after a bushfire or some sort of fire comes in and repurifies the land. It might look a little bit like this, but the thing is, it's actually prepared the earth to take on new life. And often you'll find that the seeds, so like if you're an Australian, you probably know about like the controlled bushfires, how they help clear away the shrub and debris to stop any massive, uncontrollable natural bushfires from breaking out. And what this also does is there's a certain tree that the pods get released, and the seed pods release the seeds onto the earth. And then because now the soil is like more bare, excuse me, they're able to take take seed in the earth. And then with volcanoes, the soil actually is so, I believe, minerally dense. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. The soil becomes really dense in minerals and becomes very fertile ground. And what you end up seeing is that the plants that are able to continue to grow and thrive grow so luscious. And that's what I'm feeling like with this. Like, yeah, there's apprehension because you've been burned before. Look at the soil. But it's saying like, this is fertile soil now because you got rid of all the shrubbery. You got rid of all the things that don't work. And now what's left is really fertile soil that's gonna, your seed is gonna take root, whatever it is that you're bringing in. And you don't even have to know what it is. You just have to keep moving forward. And then there's, oh, I love this. Okay, so this one is, I'm going to have to cover it up because she's a bit nudie, harmony. And what I feel like with this is on two different levels. Firstly, we're getting the harmonious relationship that is going on between, as I said, that me, myself, and I, that inner alliance when you have your own back, you are so powerful. And that gives way to power, self-confidence, and productivity, which is on this card here with harmony. And on top of that, it also, the other layer that I'm getting is that you draw harmonious people into your life, people who are in harmony with you. I also just want to point out the fact that we have, oops, like I said, I had to cover up, she's nudie. We also have like this blue flower, which is kind of on the throat. It's on her lower throat and her higher heart. And also she has a blue star here on her crown chakra, third eye chakra. You have a look. And so I really feel like this is a throat chakra opening and a third eye opening. And that's happening. Being able to move past illusion, the illusions that people have been able to hold over you in the past, like you're being unveiled and you're able to see people's real selves now, but you're also able to speak and express yourself in the way that you really want to, that maybe you didn't feel like you could in the past because you were so worried about what people thought. And now you're just like, let him leave. I don't have to be doing all that to keep them in my life. If I have to do all that, it's not aligned. It's not for me. And by standing your ground in that sense, you're going to find your life just feels so much more peaceful, so much more harmonious. And it's hanging over the new moon in Taurus, know your worth. Like Taurus is all about finding inner peace. Like I should know. But my inner peace has been so hard won, you guys. And like I'm still learning, of course. I'm still growing. Like we can always ascend to higher heights, but it is finding that inner peace and being like, no, even if I stumble, even if I fall, I'm doing it on my own terms, and then I can recover from that, but I'm not giving somebody else the power anymore to make me feel out of alignment. Because if I falter making the choices that I decide, at least I can blame myself, and at least I can then grow from them. But when you allow other people to hold that power over you through people pleasing, no, that's the real pain, because you know you've sold yourself out, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope this has been enlightening. I'm feeling called to leave it there. I'm sending you all so much love. And yeah, this has been like a really, really interesting reading. This is the one that I felt the most aligned with. This is the first time that I've read on camera, and I've just not felt the need to say a million times. I may go back and like review and say, oh my God, no, I still said 1,000 times. But I felt like this felt like a very clear channel and like it was coming through. Like I said, like I am sick, so that's very surprising to me. But this does feel like a throat chakra opening, and I really, really hope that you guys are, if this resonates, that you're feeling that clearing happening too now, and that you're able to speak your truth more authentically. So I love you all. Have a great day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.